Welcome
Gentlemen,
to
welcome.
this circle. This episode. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
I,
Go
b-
ahead.
I believe
Forgot
that
it was
I
his.
believe that you said that I was going to lead this show in today. You explicitly said that, so I was getting ready to make quite the introduction.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
I was. Well, it's too late now.
No. I'll count you in. 3, 2.
Welcome everybody to the this Monday edition of the Eric Squared Circle show. I am Eric Robinson, and joining me while he's swiping on Bumble is Mr. Eric Ozio. Ozio, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Hey, he's single out there. It's hard out here. Social isolation, okay?
That I was swiping. I'm not swiping. You see these hands? You see swiping going on?
I mean, not right now.
I thought we were talking about this specific singularity of time.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with. Okay, you were swiping Bumble. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know what you're talking
Everybody out there, let them know it's fine. Come on, let's see that smile. Anyway, we are now removed from the first two-night WrestleMania in history, and buddy, this one, a lot of good, a lot of not so good. Give me your first impressions of this weekend.
The gimmick matches and the recorded matches were, well, not recorded. They were all recorded, but like the edited matches, both were very good. So that makes sense. Night 2, definitely a drubber, kind of difficult to get through. Honestly, I felt like I was watching just a regular episode of Raw, which doesn't really hit me in the right wrestling sweet spot anymore.
Sure.
Again, there was about 4 matches that kept my attention. Genuinely, I enjoyed. The rest of them I was in and out watching and on my phone, not on Bumble.
No, he was kicking my tail in cup pong.
4 straight, baby.
Okay, all right, that's fine. It happens. Okay, some of us are a little rusty. That's all. But yeah, I mean, as far as night 2 goes and the weekend as a whole, hats off to wrestlers, crew, Triple H, Paul Heyman, Bruce Pritchard, Michael Hayes, Michael Cole, everybody involved with the production from start to finish, top to bottom. I mean, this is, you really weren't sure what you were going to get until you're actually experiencing it. And, I personally enjoyed night 1 more than I did night 2. However, given just the circumstances that's life right now, I think that they handled it in the best way that they could. As far as Vince wanting the show just to go on, regardless of what your thoughts are on that, they did a great job of trying to take everybody's minds off of it for a little bit. And I mean, you really had to suspend reality in order to enjoy this show, something we really haven't seen when it comes to wrestling in a really, really long time. And I know that we're going to get into, most of these matches, hit by hit, but there's a lot of promise that can be shown out of doing a 2-day WrestleMania, and it's definitely coincidental that they do it after New Japan does it with Wrestle Kingdom. But I don't know, and feel free to let me know your thoughts on it. But I thought that WrestleMania was much more palatable given the fact that it was 2 nights, and I didn't have to sit through everything to get to all of the high points that I wanted to see, and it just made the show a lot more digestible.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little longer than night 1, but again, it offered a change in landscape in the WWE storytelling, at least for now. Who knows if it's going to continue in terms of recording with everything that's going on. We have an unprecedented time, but they don't know if it's going to be weekly episodic. And then there's obviously highlighted matches throughout this night I like to focus on. We can go over the entire thing, just letting you all know what happened if you couldn't get the show or if you just don't feel like going through and watching it, which we recommend you should, because, again, is an historical night in regards to wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we're ever going to see anything quite like this ever again. Hopefully not. That I can. That's easy for me to say now, and I don't think that anybody thought we would ever see this type of WrestleMania before anyway. But as far as really really quickly, just kind of going into the what's next as far as WWE as a whole, given what's going on right now. They do have Raw in the can for tonight, NXT for Wednesday, just because it's going to be takeover shows. But we really, SmackDown's up in the air right now. We don't really know what's going to happen. I believe that WWE might be shooting in an undisclosed location that is in a state that does have a stay-at-home order. Not sure what state that is, or any of the details about the specifics, but they are making attempts to try to figure out ways to get around some of these loopholes to be able to continue doing what they're doing. And it doesn't surprise me in the least, but it at least gives us some hope that they're trying to work to get some of these stories to continue after WrestleMania, just because this will be unprecedented. And I don't think that, given the way that they've started 2020, that they really want to have this on top of it as far as stopping production altogether.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a light delay, but we'll see how it goes. We don't know those government policies. We know here in our state that we are currently in the great state of Ohio, and it's been pretty locked down for the last 3 weeks plus. We really they canceled the Arnold Classic at the beginning of March. Like, it's been even prior to that. Like, we haven't been able to do anything. So
sure,
we come to you here as we talk about a WrestleMania that happened in a couple different places over a week's time of filming, including Raw After Mania, which is tonight, here in about a half hour, actually, before this recording of this show.
The rowdiest show of the year becomes the mildest show of the year.
Yeah, it'll be pretty mild. It'll be extremely mild. Probably too mild, honestly. And I think that's a big problem. I think with last night, particularly, there was a lot more matches on the card for WrestleMania 2 that required a raucous crowd, and they would have given it to them. Some of those being Bobby Lashley and Aleister Black, the Andrew Garza, Austin Theory versus the Street Profits. Street Profits definitely benefit from a crowd being there. I think the Women's SmackDown Championship with the five women elimination, huge. Not having a crowd. So I think that's partially why the WrestleMania Night 2 suffered a little bit more.
Sure.
But I do believe the Firefly Funhouse match was really good. It was funny. It was original. It was different with Wyatt coming out, and we'll talk on it. But again, only a couple matches that really kept my attention. But, I mean, it is what it is. You get what you get.
Yeah, definitely. And another match that would have benefited from having a crowd would be the NXT Women's Championship match, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair getting the shock win there, especially by submission. What do you think about how they went as far as putting the title on Charlotte, presumably as a way to try to get a leg up in the Wednesday Night Wars?
I think that's... Honestly, I look at that win, and I think that's primarily the reason that she won. I don't see any other reason that she won, because I thought Ripley really was going to win and give her a ceremonial loss that she does not take very often, but they just seem to be on Charlotte's nuts more than any superstar that I've ever seen, really. It's kind of crazy. But, she's not. It's not like she's not good, so it's not like it's not warranted or unjustified by doing this for her. But again, the only reason is because they want her clout and her stigma on Wednesday nights during AEW shows.
And on paper, Charlotte to NXT is a move that you really didn't think you'd see happen. But then again, I didn't necessarily think that I'd see Finn Balor go back to NXT. This is different in a sense that she's still going to be working on either Raw or SmackDown, one of the two. Not necessarily sure which one yet, but she will be working, 2 shows at this point, just given her clout, her status, and her place on the card right now. I can get behind it as a way to see some good matches with the likes of Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Shotzi Blackheart, Mia Yim. If you want to take this and go over to NXT UK, Kaylee Ray, Tony Storm, sky's the limit with what they're doing, right now as far as that women's division goes on the Black and Yellow brand. But you have to really think how long do you really think that they're going to keep Charlotte Flair on NXT? I think becomes the big question, because yes, it's the third brand, but it just seems like when a name of her stature just feels like a Raw or a SmackDown name. So it's going to be an interesting experiment to see how they use her going forward, and to see if having Raw and SmackDown talent show up more on NXT and what it does for the ratings. Because if you do have select talent going over there, depending on what the occasion is, it as long as it tells a good story, I think it could work, so long as they don't find themselves going back to the wild card rule.
Another match that I thought was enjoyable, considering the potential lackluster night, was Otis versus Ziggs. And
yes.
I wouldn't say so much technically the match was like amazing and like high flying or super clean.
Yeah.
It was funny.
About the story. It was about the story.
And a good man Otis getting Mandy back in his life, getting him in his arms, getting her in his arms. I'm happy for Otis.
Yep.
Ziggs is he's a trifler, and Sonya Deville tried to screw him, but he's still got the girl. And I can always be impartial to the goofy guy getting the girl, man. I love it.
Yeah, and I don't think that this is the end of this story yet either. I think that we're just kind of seeing a new chapter of it now that we've finally got Mandy and Otis together. They have to go up against Sonya and Dolph because they were in on it together to keep them apart. So how else do you resolve that other than having them all duke it out? This is definitely a match that we would have seen probably at Money in the Bank or something like that had that show still been going on. So it'll be really cool to see that dynamic and to see a lot more between Otis and Mandy as love interests now that they've finally gotten together, and I'm definitely happy for the big man.
It's a good match. I mean, again, in ring, very mediocre, but I enjoyed seeing Otis win. We both picked that match easily, obviously. Another one that we both picked was the Street Profits winning against Angel Garza and Austin Theory, who was replacing Andrade in the Raw Tag Team Championship, with the Street Profits retaining. Again, another match that would have benefited immensely from a crowd. Street Profits still kept it intense.
Yeah,
another solid match that I would see on any other day at Raw. I was in and out. I'll just be honest.
Yeah, and that's really disappointing for Ford and Dawkins, because to see a Street Profits entrance at WrestleMania would have been the sickest thing ever, and that crowd would have been white hot for him. Especially for this being first WrestleMania, big title defense, all of these things kind of working against them now, giving current events. It stinks, but again, this match just was what it was. There isn't anything that I can say that was inherently bad about it or anything like that. Just I think that everybody's used to seeing something different at WrestleMania. It just has a different feel. Every match has just that little something extra because it's WrestleMania, and it's hard to replicate that energy with no audience. Everybody busted their tails, in this match. I can't say enough good things about Austin Theory and where he's going. Just, you signed with WWE 8 months ago and you're already working WrestleMania. Whether it's a pre-taped or not, you're still working WrestleMania. There aren't too many people that can say that, as far as their careers go. So huge moment for him. Have Street Profits standing tall, and to also have the Bianca Belair run in and to even the playing field with Zelina Vega. That's good stuff. That's good television and a great moment for all three of them. And yeah, the match just was what it was, more or less.
Another match that we kind of just ran the motion through was Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. With what
Yeah.
you were correct and I was wrong. I don't know why I said Lashley. Honestly,
Wait. I want to make it clear just how wrong Mr. Ozio was. So I do have the tally here, and as everybody knows, we are starting a little competition here on the show in which Mr. Ozio and myself will do predictions for every single pay-per-view match for the rest of 2020, and there will be a sick prize for the winner at the end. And Mr. Ozio is not off to the hottest start here. If we're going to do the math here, I finished WrestleMania 13-3 as far as my predictions go. So clap for your winner, buddy.
Who?
Clap for your winner, buddy. Whereas Mr. Ozio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You went 7-9. Bum bum ba bum. Your thoughts?
I was taking some risks. Didn't pan out.
No, they didn't, did they? But that's okay. That's okay. You'll get him next time, I think.
I don't care what you think.
Yeah, you do. Just a little bit. Don't talk at once, buddy. Anyway, moving on. So next match that we have to dive into at least a little bit is the Fatal 5-Way match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley, Naomi, Lacey Evans, Tamina, Sasha Banks. Again, good match. Something we'd probably see as a SmackDown main event. Everybody looked great. Even Tamina, I was pleasantly surprised to see had a great performance. And I say this every time that she's got a big match, and I'm going to continue to say it just because I'm going to continue to hold out hope for her. I would like to see them do a little bit more with Tamina, find some way to work her in, whether it be with the Usos or with Naomi. Find some way other than managing Lana to get her some time in the sun, and see what comes of it. I just think that this is the opportunity to push some different talent, especially on SmackDown. It just seems that there's a little bit more variety there, and there's plenty of other people, Carmella, for example, that aren't being used, and finding new ways to get people to mix it up. Nia Jax is also returning, so could see them being put together in the tag team division or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Tamina plays a part. She get the first elimination. This was as always a great outing for Bayley, for Sasha, Naomi. Lacey Evans has just improved leaps and bounds since making the transition from NXT. And for a second there, I thought she was going to walk out of there with that title, and that we would just see Bayley, and we would get to the inevitable slow burn that we want, that SummerSlam slow burn of Bayley and Sasha Banks. But it's nice that they're keeping the title on Bayley, because this is a match that would benefit from having the championship on the line. That seems to be when they both do their best work. And 5 years ago they were having these clashes to build up to take over SummerSlam, in Brooklyn for SummerSlam weekend. Now it's time for them to have a marquee matchup at the biggest party of the summer, doing their thing. And last night was the beginning of the end of this friendship for sure.
Yeah, I think it was. And my lovely pick, Sasha Banks, was eliminated by Lacey Evans. It's hard for me to really speak because I was pretty wrong throughout the entire match and the entire card, so I'm not much of an expert, it seems like, obviously.
I wouldn't say that.
I am an idiot. I'm so stupid.
Wouldn't say that either. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Then we have the last man standing match between Edge and Randy Orton. This was. Here's how I will put my thoughts on this match. First and foremost, this is one that definitely would have benefited from a crowd. It was probably 10 minutes too long. And I don't know. It's not what I wanted for Edge's return. I'm not saying it was a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. Just not what I expected for Edge's return. Given, they went to war with the army they had, can't fault them for it. But, this is one that probably would have been better in front of a live crowd.
Probably. It was there was not any moment where I was like, oh, I was seriously concerned for either one of their health. The only time was when the announcers kept saying, oh, Randy's neck. I mean, not Edge's neck. He's taking too many RKOs. I'm like, okay, yeah, taking an RKO on a conference table is just like, I mean, yeah, that's great, but like, it's not. He pads him with his elbow. So I mean, there wasn't any oh shit moment. I was like, oh shit, he might actually be kind of hurt,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it again, not what anybody really expected as far as for Edge's return. Nobody could have predicted that we would be in this situation of having to, do a pre-recorded match. But, as far as the build to it, fired on all cylinders. Match, again, good, not great. For those that liked it, good for you. I just it didn't do it for me. I was still entertained, but just again, not what anybody really expected, and that's a tough feeling to reconcile, just because everybody's busting their tails to put on a great show to entertain us. So I certainly don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful for the fact that this is what they were doing. This is what they do for me. They didn't have to do WrestleMania this year, and I thank them for it. Just I don't know, didn't really do it for me, but I support the fact that they went ahead with that match and continued with putting it together in the manner that they did. It just was on the long side for me. I think if it were shorter, maybe one big spot, other than just the concerto on the top of the semi truck. But what say you?
I mean, I enjoy getting out and going to the offices and the boardrooms, and I like seeing the memes where Triple H is like, in the POV, are you serious right now? You're gonna go over into the break room right now? Again, it didn't seem like there was that, again, kind of off script, off the cusp moves or anticipation in the match at all. I think they were just kind of going through the motions, to be completely honest.
Sure. What do you think is next for Edge at this point?
I have to give you my expert opinion. I have no clue.
Okay.
No clue. No clue, my friend.
What about the Viper?
I don't know. I feel like Randy, again, is somebody that you can kind of just plug into a lot of different potential feuds, and it'll work.
Sure. So as far as Edge goes, I think it's pretty safe to say that we'll see him at SummerSlam in some capacity. That's for sure. Would you want to see these guys go at it one more time? If we are back to normal by SummerSlam for some reason and they can build toward a match with a crowd, would you want to see them fight one more time? If so, Do you add a stipulation to it? And if you do, what is it?
I'm gonna say no. I don't want to see them fight again.
Okay.
Do you?
I wouldn't be upset if they went that route again, just because everybody wanted to see Edge's WrestleMania return. So, to have him come back and still be in a Big Four show, and if they can do it in front of a live crowd, absolutely deserves that. I think that if they do something like a Hell in a Cell match or a no, like a non-sanctioned match, something along those lines where they really kind of up the ante a little bit, I would be behind it. As far as for the sake of this discussion, let's say that they don't have another match. Orton is somebody that I think should be at the top of the list to challenge our new Universal Champion. I'll go ahead and say that right now. Spoiler alert for everybody at home. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, I think that's got, SummerSlam money written all over it. That's just me. And I would rather see McIntyre Orton versus McIntyre Rollins. Edge, I just don't know yet.
Yeah, and it kind of goes in line, those potentials that could be next in line for McIntyre's championship, which we'll talk on air a little bit.
Ooh, although, if AJ Styles digs himself out of that grave there at some point, Edge and AJ Styles at SummerSlam, I'd like to see it. Got my money.
Let's talk now on the highlight of the night, the best portion of the night, which was the Firefly Funhouse match between John Cena and Bray Wyatt.
What a match!
Not even a match. There's no ref.
Acid trip is what that was.
It really just was an acid trip. It's really hard to describe. Very nostalgic. Everything going through the match. We got Rap Cena. We got Thugonomics. We got
the Prototype.
Bray Wyatt. We got the Wyatt family leader, the Fiend, and even before that, he was a member. He was a member of a group. Bray Wyatt was.
He was.
But I thought it was really entertaining. It was really funny, honestly, a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this match, the Boneyard match. I mean, just for starters, I wondered how they were going to, make this how to Cena get to the Funhouse, and I would not have thought that this would be a Mike TV situation from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where he finds himself just being teleported into that realm, basically. And I mean, Cena gave it his all to be entertaining in this match, and it seemed like he really kind of bought into being in this universe and suspending reality. And the fact that he was game to go revisit everything in his career, I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. Even though it wasn't a conventional match, it was still a complete just mind.
Oh, and it was so obvious that Cena the entire time is just, he's only there to put over Bray, and he's clearly aware of it, and it's like none of us care. It's like we love that, and like
for sure
that's the only reason he's there, and it just gives me any more reason to love Cena, even though I didn't really care for Cena as a superstar towards the end, like especially after when I went to Money in the Bank 2015 in Columbus, Ohio.
You like to point that out a lot.
I really did start enjoying Cena more because like what he put into the ring really kind of shout out. Obviously his style is a little different. It's more clunky, but it's good clunky. It's based on a lot of hype and a lot of emotion, which I like as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
very good match though, very entertaining. I like being made to laugh. I like laughing. I'm a funny person. I like to be made to laugh too.
I will say that Cena in the NWO shirt and trying to do that was a little hokey, but I mean, again, Cena, is becoming a much better actor and just seemed to be enjoying himself as far as being a part of this match. And I hope that this is something that I hope this is something that we'll see a little bit more of, especially given kind of the uncertainty of things right now, to be able to do a match like this and in a way that makes people look good and accentuating the positives, hiding the weaknesses, age and things of that nature. So I don't know. The future is bright, man. Future is bright.
Yeah, and their history goes back, and they kept mentioning in the match WrestleMania 30 where John Cena beat Bray Wyatt that this was the start of the building of the feud, and it was good. It was a good build up.
Yeah.
But last match we'll talk about here was the WWE Championship. It kind of pretty much went exactly how I expected, with multiple Claymores, F5s.
Oh yeah.
To go down. Not really too much variation in the matches. You are correct. I was wrong on the selection of the winner. Drew McIntyre is the new WWE champion, which I am fully supportive of. Match was definitely quicker, I would say, purely because the Firefly Funhouse match seemed to go over 30 minutes easily.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this is the story that everybody's been waiting for, the breakout of Drew McIntyre as the top babyface. There's a lot to love about this. He's a hardworking guy. He really took his career and just, reinvented himself when he was released, and has come back looking bigger, better, and badder than ever. So I think that the sky's the limit for Drew McIntyre. As far as his reign goes in 2020, it'll be a very lengthy one. We'll definitely be seeing him mix it up with Seth Rollins at some point this year for the Universal Championship. Like I said, we'll add Randy Orton to that list, potentially Samoa Joe when he comes back, maybe. But I think that there's a lot of great matchups to be had, especially because there's the possibility of a superstar shakeup coming in the next few weeks to months to come. So we'll see. But I think that they've got themselves a new star in their hands in Drew McIntyre, and I'm excited to see what he does with the championship.
Yeah, I mean, has he ever held it? This is his first time ever, and he's at WrestleMania. So
yep.
Hopefully he holds it for a while and is pretty pragmatic as a champion, is polarific, and he definitely deserves it. So I'm happy for him to win. I'm happy with who won overall, I guess, and how they kind of panned out. Again, the matches themselves could have been a lot better.
For sure.
Yeah, that was WrestleMania Night 2 of WrestleMania 36. We wanted to come to you all briefly here on the Eric Square Circle Show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, checking us out. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our channel, click the notification button, be down with our squad, get alerts for what we're doing right now, and just continue to support us, support wrestling right now. Buy merch, share posts, do whatever you can to help people out right now, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Please do.
Yep. Pleasure as always. And do a little bit better next pay-per-view, all right?
Huh?
Do a little bit better next month, okay? If we get Money in the Bank, just do better. Just do better.
At what?
Your prediction game, buddy.
Oh.
Or do you not remember the fact that you got waxed?
I was just being specific.
Like severely.
I was wanting to make sure what I was doing better at. And that's, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
Be better.
Shut the
Be better.
All right, get out of here. Get off my...
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Eric Squared Circle Show. If you liked what you heard, take a quick second to leave us a review, and if it's a 5-star, we'll read it on the air. We really want to hear from you guys, so if you have a question, trivia, interview ideas, or any other suggestions, we want to hear them. Shoot us an email at ericsquaredcircle@gmail.com. And don't forget, you guys are the reason that we do this show. It's the ultimate show by Smarks for Smarks, so what's not to love? Let's keep the discussion going on Twitter using the hashtag E2SC and join our server on Discord. Last but not least, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you turn on notifications because you'd be crazy to miss anything it is that we're doing right now.